Morning, Shalom Aleichem. We all get a Mazel Tov today.
Mazel Tov.
Well, Hashem, it's a year anniversary to the time we started this year. It was Parshas Chaye Sarah. In Mitzvah Hashem, Ko Yiten Hashem V'cho Yosef. We should be able to learn together for many, many healthy years to come. In Mitzvah Hashem. When I dedicate the shir to Ben Sion Ben Dosa, Atzlach of him, his family, B'chol HaNilvim Alav, in Mitzvah Hashem, as well as to the Hatzlacha of the soldiers fighting b'Mesirus Nefesh, the kidnapped. The Mitzvah Hashem should be able to come home speedily, all healthy, body and soul. In Mitzvah Hashem. Chaye Sarah opens up with the death of Sarah Imenu. Sarah Imenu passes, and Avraham Avinu comes. Lispoida velivkoisa, he comes to eulogize her and to cry. So he's married to her for many, many years, 100 years, more. Biggest tzaddikus ever. How much should he cry? And yet the pasuk says livkoisa with a small kaf, and Rashi explains, brings some chazal, because he only cried a little. Sapele. You have the biggest tzaddikus in the world. How much should I cry for her already? Why didn't he cry? In order to explain that, we have to tell a story, a maise. Ovadia Yosef Zatzal sitting shiva. I think he was sitting shiva for his son. And a Talmid Chochem, Ashkenazi one, comes to visit him. And when he leaves, he says, as the minhag of Ashkenaz, Hamakom Yenachem Eschem Besoch Sh'ar Avei Tzion V'Yerushalayim. In Yerushalayim, there's a minhag. We had a few more words based on a pasuk in Yirmiyah. V'lo tosifu leda'ava od. Should never have any more sorrow, any more pain. So the people around him look at this Rosh Yeshiva's Talmid Chochem and they say, Rebbe, it's a Sephardi house here. That's not what we say here. What do they say, Sephardim? Tenuchamu min hashamayim. Some say min hashamayim tenuchamu. Also works. So he apologized. He wanted to say the right thing. Already says, no. I'll tell you why he said that to me. So our Avadi now is giving us a new pshat on the Ashkenazi minhag of Hamakom Yenachem Esrem. Normally we understand Hamakom refers to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It's one of his names. Mekoyma shel olam. HaKadosh Baruch Hu Yenachem Esrem. He will give you nechama. It's strange though. We don't find the name Hamakom anywhere else. We don't use it in blessings. We don't use it in tefillah. This is the only place where we use Hamakom. So Avadi explained, why is it that Avraham Avinu cried a little for Sarah Imenu, the biggest tzaddikus? Because he made a very simple calculation. Where is she going now? To a much better place. She's going to go be with the Kodesh Baruch Hu, all the tzaddikim and all the tzaddikuses. Why do I have to cry? I don't need to cry. She's going to Olam HaEmes. She's leaving Olam HaSheker. It's much better. But if I don't cry, what are people going to say? Look at this guy. Shh. Married to her for 100 years. The biggest tzaddikus, he doesn't even shed a tear. It's a cruel individual. Tzchil Hashem. Marisayin, I'm going to cry. But I don't really need to cry because she's going to a better place. I'm going to cry a little. With that he explained what this Talmid Chochem told him. Hamakom, we thought it's referring to Kodesh Baruch Hu, no. Hamakom, the new place that the Niftar is going to, Yenachem Esrem should give nechama to those who are sitting shiva. It's a whole new pshat, a whole new understanding. We thought Hamakom refers to Kodesh Baruch Hu. It's true, that's the pshat. But as well, and this should give a lot of nechama to people who are sitting shiva. Hamakom, the place that the one who departed is now in. Since an Adam Kasha, you know where we're going. He's going to Gan Eden. That should give nechama to the mishpacha, and they should know no more tzar and no more pain.
So it's kemat what about it, but you said the Sephardic is
totally different. Hamakom we thought refers to Kodesh Baruch Hu. Kodesh Baruch Hu is going to give nechama. Now we're saying this is not referring to Kodesh Baruch Hu. It's the new Metzius. Hamakom, that the place that the Niftar went to, that should give you nechama. Of course, it's through HaKadosh Baruch Hu, but it's knowing what really goes on. Where does he go? To Olam HaEmes, to a better place. That better place with all the tzaddikim, sitting and learning Torah from HaKadosh Baruch Hu's mouth, that should give nechama to the Niftar. There's a big machlokes. Maybe once we mentioned it.
In that case, though, then it's hard to, okay, regular okay, came of the Chas v'sholom, if a child, Chas v'sholom, or what do you call it? Can you say the same thing for that?
Even better. Even better. An under 13 years old never sinned. Pure neshama goes right back to the source, the heavenly throne, without needing to go through a cleansing period like most people.
Don't tell the parents that. You go tell the parents that you can't say that to the parents.
You're asking if this can apply to an under 13, even better. Kids who die under the age of 13, the Mekubalim explained to us, are a gilgul of...
They're 19.
That's even better. Where are they going? Zohar Meferesh Bereshis Daf Lamed Ches Amud Aleph. There are 7 chambers up there. People who die because they're Jewish, just because they're Jewish, in the hands of Goyim, are called Kedoshim. They go to a place where no one else can go, in the highest chamber, on their own. They're called Harugei Malchus. And Birya Yechoila La'amod B'mchitzasan. Reb Chaim Kanievsky told me you can say Kadosh on a person like that, even though he was secular, he did everything wrong. According to Halacha, he died on Kiddush Hashem just because he's Jewish. He gets the title Kadosh. What a big source, the biggest source in the world. We want to live on Kiddush Hashem, but we have to go if we die on Kiddush Hashem. It's the biggest thing in the world, the biggest source ever. Rabbi Akiva said at the last minutes of his life, I was waiting my whole life for this. When will this come to my hands and I'll be able to fulfill it? There's a big machloikes. What you said, I'm not your spokesman. That you're going to have to tell him after this year.
There's also, if someone were to come to those parents 19 years before, say it was a 19-year-old, they said, I'm going to be giving you a gift, but I'm coming back in 19 years to take back the gift. You have a choice. You want the gift for 19 years, or you'd rather I don't give the gift?
More than that, when I take back the gift, know that it should be a korban atonement for Klal Yisrael and protect us, and who knows how many lives it saved. Who would say no? This is easier said than done. Very easy to say these words. But once we talked about it again, maybe these ideas will penetrate, because this is what we know from Chazal. This is how it works in the Olam Osai. There is a machloikes, the poskim, what's better? Zrizin magdimin lemitzvahs, should do mitzvahs quickly as soon as you can, or you should beautify the mitzvahs. What's better? You have a chance to do it a little later, in a most glamorous, beautiful way, or the first chance you have to do a mitzvah, you can do it. Says the Chassam Sofer in his Akdama to Chulin, this was the machloikes between Avraham Avinu and Sarah Imenu. What's better to do? Everything quickly, as soon as you can. That's Avraham Avinu, because the psukim keep saying, El habakar ratz Avraham, he's running. Vayemaher la'asos oiso. Vayemaher Avraham ha'ohela el Sarah ishtoi. And he says to her, fast, no, start cooking, start baking. Mahari lushi ugois. He didn't stop. Everything has to be done fastest. Sarah Imenu, whoa, slow down, take your time. And that's why Chazal say, she sieved the flour with 13 sieves. One better than the other, one tighter than the other, 13 times. Whoa, slow down. Instead of zrizin, let's do hidu mitzvah. Beautification of the mitzvah is more important than zrizin. So even though solet is better than kemach solet, but we have to go slow and make sure everything is right. Make machloikes, 2 poskim, Avraham Avinu and Sarah Imenu, the 2 Nevi'im. Great. Because she did what she did, and she took her time, what happened ultimately? Were they able to use this bread? Rashi brings Nitmea Isa, she became a Nida, and this beautification ultimately didn't work out because nobody can use it. And on her Chazal darshan pasuk, Velechem atzlus lo tochel, you won't be able to eat it. If you're atzlan, again, we're talking about Sirens, so amen. But if you slow down and you're not studious like Avraham, Zrizin, ultimately you may not be able to benefit from the Hidur mitzvah. With that, the Chassam Sofer explains what the Medrash Rabbah says. Rabbi Akiva was teaching a shir one day. A lot of meeting, and slowly he sees that some of them are starting to doze off. But that's what Rabbi Akiva saw. And therefore, he saw that the tzibur is starting to fall asleep, and he wanted to wake them up. So what did he say? Out of nowhere, he suddenly speaks about Esther Amalka, and he says, how come Esther Amalka ruled over 127 countries? Why? What's the connection? But Esther, the great-great-granddaughter of Sarah Imenu, who ruled over 127 of her years, Esther, her descendant, will rule over 127 countries. What? What's the connection? And Bichlal, why do you say it's the schus of Esther, of Sarah Imenu? Why not the schus of Avraham Avinu, who also ruled over 127 of his years? Why do I say 127? How old was Avraham Avinu when he passed away? 175. When did he recognize his creator? According to the Rambam, according to Medrash Rabbah, at the age of 48. Nedorim Lamed Beis says 3 years. In the Medrash it says 40, and according to the Medrash Rabbah, 48. 175 minus 48? 127. So he also, just like Solomon, ruled over 127 years. So why do you say Esther got 127 countries for the merit of Sarah Imenu for 127 years that she ruled over? He also, let's ignore the first 48 years, and he rules over, and he's connected to Torah mitzvahs like Sarah Imenu for 127 years. So what do you want from Sarah? It sounds like it's a shevach. Sarah Imenu ruled over 127 years. Esther gets to rule over 127 countries, and Avraham Avinu didn't. He does the same thing, 127 years. But ruling over 127 countries is not such a praise. Why? Because Chazal Darshan in Megillah Yud Aleph Amud Aleph, a pasuk from Koheles, Ba'atzaltaim Yimach HaMekare. If you have a little leak from the ceiling, if you don't take care of it, it's going to become wider and wider, and before it was just 5 drops, now it's a whole big stream of water. If you're too lazy, says Shlomo HaMelech, Ba'atzaltaim, the ceiling may fall down. Yimach HaMekare. What is this referring to? Chazal Darshan in Maseches Megillah, this refers to the 127 countries that Esther ruled over. Why do they have to be all over the place? Chazal say, Kinus la tzadikim yafehu lahem. The gathering of tzadikim is better. How come they're spread all over the place? Why is it? It's because they were atzlanim. And what happens when you're lazy? Like the ceiling will open up and the stream will come down, you separate. And even though, technically speaking, it's much better for the world, much better for the tzaddikim, and it should be that all the tzaddikim are in one place, but they weren't zrizim to the mitzvahs, and therefore they scattered away. Rabbi Akiva wanted to awaken the Talmidim. And he said, if you're not going to learn well, if you're not going to be up when I'm giving you a shir, you know what's going to happen, Chalila? Like the time of Esther, who ruled over 127 countries, unfortunately, instead of ruling over one where all the tzaddikim are, because they were lazy, they spread. If you're not going to wake up now when I'm giving you a shir, you may also spread all over. That's why Chazal said that the schus of Esther is dependent on Sarah. It's not a praise. Just like Esther was in her time, people were lazy and therefore they spread all over, so too, where she got it from? From her great-grandmother, Sarah was also displayed as if, again, we're talking about Esther Amalka, Sarah Imenu, Avraham Avinu, but this is some Sefer and is Akdama to Chulin. And Esther and Sarah Imenu as if displayed, compared to Avraham Avinu, some kind of laziness, and that caused her to lose the ability to use the bread. The same, where does Esther Amalka get it from? It's in the genes, from her great-grandmother, Sarah Imenu, not Avraham Avinu, because he exercised zrizin of mitzvahs, as opposed to Sarah, who exercised beautification of mitzvahs, but when it comes zrizin and beautification, zrizin adif, you should do the zrizin better.
So that's sort of what people say. Isn't it better if the Jews should be spread out, so they can't be all attacked in one place?
That's why the Gemara in Psochim Peivav, the Gemara says, how come we're spread all over the 4 corners of the world? And the Gemara says a few answers. One of the answers, so we should find people to bring back. How is a person who's supposed to convert ultimately going to find Yiddishkeit if we're somewhere? I don't know where. We're in
India.
If we're in India, in South Africa, I don't know where. How is he supposed to find Yiddishkeit? Well, the Jews all over the place, and now he finds the Jews, and he will be able to convert.
So it's strong because people think, why are all you Jews going into one place? It could be dangerous.
I have a different pshat. Reb Chaim Volozhin in his yeshiva had an interesting schedule. Normally yeshivas start at whatever, 7, 7:30, 8 o'clock, and they go till 11, 12 o'clock. Chaim Volozhin wasn't like that. Chaim Volozhin, the yeshiva was always on, always in session.
Always in session.
At one point, a donor came. I said, "Tell me a little about the schedule of the yeshiva." He said, "We eat at 1 and we eat at 7. Yeah. When do you learn? He says, "We eat at 1 and we eat at 7. He says, "But what's the schedule of the yeshiva?" When the Zdarim. He says, "We're always learning." He had shifts of different students at different times, so 24 hours, 7 days a week, somebody will be learning. Why? Because he writes in Nefesh HaChaim that if there will be a moment, one moment in the world without Torah, the world will cease to exist. He was afraid of that. So maybe that's why. Today we don't do 24 hours in most places. So when we are sitting and learning here, somebody else is sleeping, I don't know where, in Australia or in America. When they are learning, we are sleeping, so it comes out there's always somebody who's sitting and learning as Mekayim the world. Maybe that's why. I think some Sofer says there's 2 days of Purim. Why do you have 2 days of Purim? All the other Yom Tov are not 2 days. Because Purim, you have a problem. Since they told you Mechayev inish levesumit bepuraya adelo yada, you have to drink to the point that you can't distinguish between Ahu Haman and Baruch Mordechai. It's very hard to learn. So if Klal Yisrael would be drunk in 1 day, who's learning? If there's no learning, the world ceases to exist. So therefore they split it into 2. When people in Yerushalayim get drunk on the 15th, we're still learning. When we get drunk here, they're still learning. Mibele, there's always a queue. People in the world, all over, somewhere, someone is learning as Mekayim the world. Maybe. There's a pasuk in Mishlei, Soine Matanos Yichyeh. A person who hates to receive gifts will live. Great. Rivka Imenu was Mekayim the whole Torah? Of course. Including the Rabbanon, including the Gdukim, including Minhagim Toivim. It's Pashut. All the Imahos, just like the Avos, were Mekayim the whole Torah. Eliezer comes and gives her a lot of gifts. All kinds of beautiful jewelry. Sure, bring it on, and she takes it. Rebbetzin, you didn't hear about the pasuk. Soine matanos yichyeh. It's not the way of tzaddikim. When you give a gift to tzaddikim, normally you say, no, thank you very much, thank you very much. What's the problem with soine matanos yichyeh? Why don't we want to receive gifts? What's wrong? What's the problem? It's either because when you start relying on your friend to supply you with things, you stop relying on HaKadosh Baruch Hu. No, I have my friend, I don't need you. Chas v'shalom. Or, not less severe, you start flattering the person and you start lying to him because you want to make sure you keep him in good terms because you want to continue getting gifts from this person. So even though he's a Rasha, you're going to say, oh, you're the greatest tzaddik and you're the greatest person, you're going to lie, you're going to flatter him all day long. You lose your bitachon in HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and you become a liar. Not good, and therefore Shlomo Melech says, Soine matanos yichyeh. When I was young, and I wanted a gift, my parents didn't want to give me. Hope they're not listening to this year.
When your tooth used to fall out.
So, I would say, I really want it. So they said, don't you know? Soine matanos yichyeh. So I was young, so I said, don't you know? Soine matanos yichyeh. Mikla lav ani shomea hen. Oyev matanos yichyeh tov. I don't know, it didn't work. I don't know why. It didn't work for me. I was young.
Didn't work?
Didn't work. If one who hates gifts will live, one who loves gifts will live very well. Al kol panim, Rivka Imenu knows this pasuk from Koheles. So what's wrong? How come she's willing to take all the gifts that Eliezer bestows on her? Rabbi Isaac Sher, Oshiva Slobodka, says such a beautiful insight. What is the problem that you receive gifts? When you take it for yourself. When somebody does you a gift, but when somebody does you a favor, a great favor, if you're not willing to receive the thank you, that person is always going with a guilt trip. Whatever he sees is they did such a big favor for me, and I never had the chance to say thank you. Never had the chance to give them something in return. They always deny me. So the person is going with I owe you. That's a terrible feeling to walk with. Rivka Imenu was receiving the gift not because she wants the gift. The problem starts when you receive a gift, when you take it for yourself because you want it. She was willing to take the gift. She was willing to take the gift in order to remove from Eliezer the feeling of, wow, she gave water to me, to all my camels, to all my slaves, and I never gave her anything in return. She said no, she refused to accept gifts from me. It's a terrible feeling to walk with. I always feel I'm indebted to this person. So Rivka Imenu was willing to take it in order to remove from him the feeling of, oh, I owe her. Can't walk comfortably in the streets saying Rivka Imenu is, she has, she gave me such a big thing. I never said thank you appropriately because she denied it, she refused it. So in order to make Eliezer feel good, she was willing to take the gifts. So in other words, when Shlomo Melech says don't take gifts, he is talking under normal circumstances when you take gifts because you want the gift. Stay away. Rely on HaKadosh Baruch Hu. If he wants you to have it, you're going to have it. But when you do it in order to help someone else, no problem at all. And that's what Rivka Imenu did. What kind of Shalom Bayis is it going to be if she always says, no, 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 no. And he loves her and he wants to show her that he loves her and he buys her another gift. He says, no, I don't want your gifts. Shalom Bayis is so great that HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, erase my name. So I don't want to say erase the pasuk in Kohelet, but if we were able to erase HaKadosh Baruch Hu's name, obviously it overrides this pasuk, because again, you're not taking it because I want it, because it's going to make my husband feel good, and that's exactly what Rivka Imenu did.
So we should go out and buy flowers today for our homes.
Only today? And why stop with flowers?
Chocolate.
Vayetze Yitzchak lasuach basade. From here Chazal learn Brachos Daf Chavav. Yitzchak Avinu, what did he go do really in the field? Daven. En sicha ela tefila. And in Chaf Vav Amud Aleph in Brachos we learn Yitzchak instituted the tefila of Mincha. Chazal say in Brachos Daf Vav, le'oilam yehe adam zahir betfilas mincha. One should always be extremely careful with Mincha. L'chayra even more so than the other prayers, Shachis and Ma'ariv. But why is that? Mincha is another one of the three prayers we have a day. What's so special about Mincha that one has to be extra careful to make sure he davens appropriately? So the Tur already answers this in Siman Reish Lamed Beis, and the Tur writes, when you get up in the morning, it still didn't work. It's part of your daily schedule. You go to daven, and you ask Kodesh Baruch Hu, send me atzlacha. Great. When you finish your work day, you come home, you go to Ma'ariv, it doesn't bother your schedule. But in the middle of the day, when you're meeting a client, when you have somebody come into your store, say, oh, wait a second, there's a minyan now, I'll see you later. It's not so pashut, not so pashut. It's much more difficult to stop in the middle of the day to find the time for Mincha, especially in the winter. Meimele says the Tur, that's why Chazal say, le'oilem yehe adam zahir b'tfilas mincha, be extra careful dafka Mincha, more so than Shachis or Ma'ariv. Not that Mincha is more important, it's just a technical thing. It's harder to commit to Mincha on a regular basis.
That's how you become a millionaire.
What's that?
That's how you become a millionaire.
Not only a millionaire, a millionaire. Millionaire, not millionaire.
That's the play on the words.
But it's true. Aruch HaShulchan. Yoredea. Not Yoredea. Or HaChaim. Or HaChaim, Aruch HaShulchan, I believe, Reish Lamed Gimel Seif Yud Beis. Maybe Yud Gimel, but I think Yud Beis. Aruch HaShulchan brings an unbelievable thing. He brings some Machberes HaAruch. It's one of the Rishonim. Why is poverty found in the cities of Edom? Because they daven Mincha Ktana.
Too early.
According to the Shulchan Aruch, L'choira, the Lechatchila is Mincha Ktana. That's the Mincha we daven 5 minutes before Shkia, right? The Aruch, one of the Rishonim, says that's why people are poor in the cities of Edom. Because they don't want to stop in the middle of their workday. I'm going to stop for Mincha? Oh, wait. I finish my work and then I'll go to have Mincha. Oh, money is more important to you. So Kodesh Baruch Hu takes away their money. Says the Aruch, the Lechatchila is, and the right thing to do, show Kodesh Baruch Hu meaning and davening is more important than your work. Stop in the middle of the day, Mincha Gdoila, as soon as you can, and then Kodesh Baruch Hu will make you rich. Pele, that's why I said millionaire. It's a Kiddush, but it's one of the Rishonim. Aruch HaShulchan brings it.
Can't we learn from the pastor Yitzchak? Said Yitzchak davened Mincha Lifnei Tzedek. That seems to be Shabbat, like closer to Shekia.
The Gemara dashes the pasuk, "Yirau Chaim Shamesh ve'lifnei Yareach Dor Dorim." A pasuk from Tehillim. The Lichoira, it sounds like, but the Shulchan Aruch says that the Lechatchila is Mincha Ktana, towards the end of the day. There are many Rishonim that say is Lechatchila to daven Mincha Gedoila, But even to those who don't, there's a reason why many people do daven, many gedolim, many yeshivas, dafka daven mincha gedola, not mincha ktana, because of a technical problem. You can't eat a seuda before mincha, so it's going to ruin the whole schedule where the talmidim are going to have to stay hungry until 5, 6, 7 p.m. Talmud Torah is dioraisa, davening is only derabanan, so if it's going to bother their normal schedule, or because of fleishik and milichik and yeshivas, so there's many reasons why dafka daven mincha gedola. But according to the language of Shulchan Aruch, is mincha ktana. There's a big machlokes about that. But maybe in a different way, a few different ways. Why is it that one has to be extra careful dafka with the tefillas of mincha? Medrash Talpios, and Zohar HaKodesh also says in Bereshis Daf Reish Lamed Amud Aleph, mincha is time of din, strict judgment in the world. Mimele it's pashut. If it's strict judgment in the world, you better be extremely careful every single word you say. Khalila, you want to say something wrong at the time the strict judgment rules over the word and not minas rachamim and chesed. Maybe in a different way. Yalkut Ruveni brings that at the time of mincha, Moshe gave us the luchos. He came down on Yom Kippur at the time of mincha. If that's the case, what does it say in the luchos? You better fulfill everything that I'm giving you. So at the time that you receive it and you say, yeah, sure, nice Evanishma, at the time that you accept on yourself all the mitzvahs, that obviously includes mitzvahs d'oraisa and mitzvahs d'rabanon, obviously you have to be extremely careful that you practice what you preach. Or a different way. According to Rashi, Kiddush, big Kiddush. According to Rashi, in Yuma Daf Kaf Ches Amud Aleph, minchas d'oraisa. It's the only davening which is d'oraisa. And Rashi brings the pasuk that we started with, Vayetzi Yitzchak lasuach basad. He brings some here. It seems from Rashi, minchas d'oraisa. Mimele, since Shachis and Ma'ariv is only the Rabbanon. Minchas d'oraisa, according to this, of course, le'olam yehei adam zayah, but tefillah mincha, that's the only mincha, it's the only tefillah that you have d'oraisa. Maybe in a different way. Yuma, Kaf Ches Amud Beis. That's interesting. Rashi over there was in Tanis Kaf Ches, and now we go to Yuma Kaf Ches. That is Amud Beis, Amud Aleph, now Amud Beis. According to the Gemara in Yuma, Avraham Avinu davened mincha gdoila, not mincha ktana. As soon as there was a little shade on his eastern wall, time to daven, and he stopped everything and he davened. If that, and the Gemara brings a raya from there to the zrizus, which we discussed before. Avraham Avinu, he runs to do mitzvahs as soon as he can. It comes out if you daven mincha with zrizus, and you daven mincha as you should, you do 3 for the price of 1. First of all, you're walking bedaki avos. You're walking in the path of your forefathers. You show zrizus lemitzvos like Avraham, and you're davening at the first possible minute, and that shows how dear it is to you, the tefillah. And we made a person who's zahir to do that. You know, the tefillah should be accepted in Hashem berachamim. Reb Chaim, like the Chazon Ish, always daven mincha gedola. Reb Yaakov Emdin writes in his siddur, another Kiddush. Who instituted mincha? Yitzchak. So you want to tell him Avraham Avinu didn't daven mincha? Chazal say in Yom HaChavches Amud Beis, in Kiddush in Pei Beis Amud Aleph, Avraham Avinu was mekayim the whole Torah, even the Rabbonons, even Eruv Tafshidin. So he didn't daven mincha, huh? How is it possible? Says the Yaakov Emdin, of course he did. Yitzchak instituted it for generations. Avraham Avinu used to daven mincha as a nedava. If that's the case, and mincha is a nedava, what kind of a nedava is it if you don't have sincerity, you don't have kavanah? So therefore, le'olam yizayir adam b'tfilas mincha davka, because if you're obligated to do something and you do it, okay, fine. You did what they told you. But if you're not commanded, and it's an element of nedava, how can you do a nedava without kavanah? That's meaningless. That's why Chazal say, le'olam yizayir adam b'tfilas mincha, more so than the others. What's interesting is we always quote this. Le'olam yizayir adam. Chazal say the same thing about Ma'ariv as well. And therefore we'll go with Tfilas Avos as Rishus, and we accepted it ourselves as a Choyva, so how much more so?
What does it mean that he davened mincha? Davened the same tefillos that we do now, because Chazal came later to institute that. What did he actually... Are
you denying Ruach HaKodesh and Nevuah that Avraham Avinu had? He doesn't know what they're going to institute later? And even if you even if you want to say that the formulation was different, that's not a problem. Everybody used to daven their own prayer according to their own. The Rambam says Tzachu Salashon, according to whatever comes in your mouth. But then Chazal say it doesn't work like that, and some people are not able to do that, so they instituted a nusach which is for all of us. So Avraham Avinu daven mincha according to how they daven all the way, many, many hundreds of years later, until the point where Anshe Knesset HaGedolah instituted the formulation that we have today. So even if you don't want to say that he davened the Shmoneh Esrei like we did, he davened his own Shmoneh Esrei. There's no problem.
Is there any difference in the importance of davening Mincha Gedolah on Hildak Day on Shabbos compared to weekdays? Because I see on Shabbos, the number of people that go to Mincha Gedolah is quite small.
Shabbos lichoira, there could be another advantage. There's a machlokes when you eat shalishudis, should you eat it before mincha or after mincha? Also, so if you daven early, you'll definitely be able to go with all opinions that you eat after mincha, which is definitely better for all opinions. Some say you can also eat it before, but it's definitely better after. If you daven early, and you'll be able to eat shalishudis already early, so then you won't have a problem with Melave Malka. Another technical problem, if you eat very late in the day, especially in the summer Shabbos, and you eat Shalishudis at 7 or 8 o'clock, how are you expected to eat Melave Malka without eating Achila Gasa?
That's preparing on the Shabbos for a weekday, isn't it, really?
What's that?
If you're eating, if it was scheduled, you're eating on Shabbos in order that you're going to leave time for Mincha, for Melave Malka, then you're preparing something on Shabbos for a weekday, for what you're going to do after Shabbos goes out.
That's not called preparation. No. Preparation is something I can't do right now, so I'm going to talk about it. I'm going to drive on Sunday at 2 p.m. You're not allowed to drive on Shabbos, so you can't say that. A preparation which is a tircha yesera, extra work, cannot be done as well. There's no preparation there. Anyways, I'm going to daven. I'm just scheduling it accordingly in order to do another mitzvah Motzi Shabbos. It's not called the achana, it's not a problem at all. Now we're moving a little into Inyana Deyoima, wartime. There is a procedure in the army called the Hannibal procedure. You familiar with that? What does that mean? About 25 or 30 years ago, the Israeli army was afraid that people from the north are going to come and kidnap soldiers or citizens, and they put up signs all over near the north, on the north border. Anybody who tries to kidnap one of our soldiers or a citizen will not be able to go back behind the border because we're going to explode the entire car, including everybody is sitting there, including our guy. Now that's what we don't want to do that. We don't want to kill our guy, but that's ultimately what's going to happen. So don't attempt that because it's not happening. This was done for two reasons. To make sure they don't do this. And if they do kidnap a soldier, they can get a lot of information from him. So we don't want our people there. Then we're going to have to negotiate with them and release, as we did many times, many hundreds of people for one person. We don't want that. So we're saying loud and clear, there'll be no mistake about it. If you try, you will die. Everybody in the car will die. The shaila is, can you do this halachically?
Can you do this?
Halachically.
It's a suicide or it's comes from outside?
We're going to shoot a missile at the car, no one will survive. And by definition, when we do that, we lose our guy. Can you do that?
But the one sending the missile is not the guy.
We are. So the army.
What's about, there's somewhere there is the long road that is short and the short road that is long.
Eruv Nun Gimel.
Right.
That's what Bruya told to the guy from the Galil. He asked, well, where is it? How do I go to the Galil? How is that going to help us?
The connection is, okay, here we kill 4 people, including that soldier. But if we don't do that, and we make 20 soldiers or whatever, and then it will be all far again, and we have to release.
Bruya was saying that in order to try to teach him to minimize the length of his discussions with women. You want to learn from that the pikuach nefesh Ayla? That's a big Kiddush. Big Kiddush. I can't hear you.
You can't kill someone that they're treating kids on the street.
So you're saying no good. You have a raya?
As a threat.
It's a threat for Klal Yisrael. Every single week they're going to kidnap somebody else if you don't do it. And they're going to get a lot of information from the soldiers, and who knows what's going to happen next. And if we negotiate with them and we have to release 500 terrorists and they go back, you know what happened with the Gilad Shalit deal? How many did we free? 1,000? I think 75 or 80% of them, it's more, went back to terrorist activity. Some of them were actually are the ones who came in Simchas Torah. So it's a protection. What are you saying?
The greatness of Pikuach Nefesh, that all the more so here. In other words, the life of a Jew is so precious that how could they permit killing a Jew in order to maybe save all kinds of information?
You're saying this is a vada, you're killing him. It's a suffix, what's going to happen next? You have a raya? I like your svara. Do you have a raya? In order to paskin pikuach nefesh, we're going to go with svaros. No matter how great and beautiful the svaros are. Shulchan Aruch Yoredea Simen Kuf Nun Zayin, we learn. If the Goyim come and they put a Jewish city under siege. Kuf Nun Zayin, 157. And they say, hand us over one Jew. Otherwise we kill you all. The halacha is you're not allowed to give over a person. It's from Yerushalmi and Trumos. Unless he's Chayav Misa. The Mishnah brings over there like Sheva ben Brichi, a person, Sheva ben Brichi, who was Chayav Misa. If he's already Chayav Misa, you can give him over to the Goyim. But if not, you're not. You're not allowed to. Lichoira, this is similar. If the person who's kidnapped is not Chayav Misa, how come you're sacrificing him? Is this the same shaila like we are dealing with? About 75, 80 years ago, there was a maaseh. Terrorists threw a hand grenade into a room full of soldiers. Imagine a place this size, and it rolled to one side where a lot of soldiers were there. Let's say 40 guys. The last second before it exploded, one of the soldiers kicked the grenade to the other side of the room where there was one soldier, and it exploded, and he died. So the Chazon Ish was asked, was this allowed? Will we recommend doing this next time? Until now, this guy wasn't in any harm's way. If it's going to explode over there, it's going to kill all the 40 over there. Nothing's going to happen to him. You killed him. Chazon Ish wants to say a tremendous chiddush. Don't call it a maaseh hariga. Don't say that he killed him. He was involved in a maaseh hatzala. He was involved in saving the life of 40 people. You're right, one guy died, but he wasn't trying to kill him. Don't call it a maaseh hariga. The Chazon Ish is dealing with something which back in his time sounded like science fiction. And the Chazon Ish says, if an arrow is shot and it's going to fall into a group of 100 people, and you have the ability to redirect it mid-air to fall over on a group of 30 people, can you do it or not? Arrows redirecting 80 years ago, what are you talking about today? That's exactly how the war is conducted now. Says the Chazon Ish, don't call it a maaseh hariga, it's a maaseh hatzala. You're saving 70 people's lives. But everybody likes to quote the Chazon Ish as if this is how he decreed. The Chazon Ish leaves it with a question mark, tzarich iyun. So we don't have a decisive answer from the Chazon Ish, but the Tzitz Eliezer was asked something which is similar. A car was driving down the Carmel mountain. He was going in Haifa, down a mountain over there, and suddenly he lost his brakes. If he continues going straight, there's 10 people on the road, and he's going to hit and kill them. No question about it. He can turn to the right, go on the sidewalk, there's only 2 guys. Should you turn the wheel to the right, kill 2 guys, and save 8? Or should you say, I can actively go and put in harm's way 2 individuals who until now were not in danger. I'll be passive and let 10 guys, make it nicer, 25, make it 400 people die. What do we do? Tzitz Eliezer, Paskins, Shev ve'al taise adif. Be passive.
The same would be in the case of the grenade?
Lichoiraya. Based on that, lichoiraya in our case, Shev ve'al taise, be passive. Rav Elyashiv Zatzal was asked. The terrorists kidnapped someone, and now they're using him as a human shield. Don't shoot me because I'm holding your guy right in front. If you shoot him. Can we shoot? Can we shoot the terrorists in order to eliminate them, knowing We're not going to try to aim at our guy, but we know what's going to happen. Can we do that? And Rav Eliashiv said, yeah. He took a Jew as a human shield. And Rav Eliashiv said, if no matter what, we know that they're going to kill him, you're allowed to do this. If you don't know, and there's going to be some negotiations with them, so you don't know for a fact, then you have to be passive. According to that, what the Chazon Ish was saying is that potentially this is a Maaseh Hatzala, that in case you don't know that the single soldier would actually die. If you knew for a fact that everyone in the room would probably die, so then you would, no problem, you would be able to do that. No question about it. The only tzarech iyun is, if until now he was not in harm's way and you rolled it towards him and because of that he dies, maybe then it's Maaseh Hatzala, Maaseh Hariga, maybe then it's wrong.
When I heard often the story, if there's a group of people, they say, we're going to all shoot you unless you tell us where glory is, and God, I understood it was forbidden to do this.
That's what the Shulchan Aruch rules la halacha. You can't hand over a person unless he is chayav misa.
This doesn't sound like a similar case to the pushing the grenade or I think this is
Pushing the grenade is something that's going to kill me. I'm moving it away from me. I'm involved in hatzala of myself and everybody around. Says the Chazon Ish, maybe I'm saving my life. I'm not killing anyone. You're right, somebody's going to die. I'm not trying to kill anyone. When you're handing over the person, you say, here, take him and kill him instead of me. That's my Maaseh Hariga.
But if I say, take him, I'm saving myself.
Not when you already threw at you something that's going to explode in your face. I'm just moving it away. I'm involved in a Maaseh Hatzala. Again, the Chazon Ish leaves it with a question mark. It's a tzarech iyun. The Tzitz Eliezer, because of what you're saying, says you can't do that. Shev ve'al taiseh adif, be passive. Lemaiseh, in our case, if the government would have a rule, we do not negotiate with terrorists, period. So that means if they did capture some people, ultimately they will kill them. And if that's the case, you'd be able to go and explode them all. But since the metzius is that we do negotiate, and many times we break all kinds of deals with them, so lichor, it's not sure that they're going to die, and because of that, you cannot shoot and to kill everybody, including our guy, and then we'll apply shev ve'al taiseh adif.
What happens if they say, if they want a particular person, say for example they say, we're going to continue to find rockets at you. If you hand over your Prime Minister, we really dislike you, we want to do with it less.
Shulchan Aruch mefurash against you. Can't. You're a Kuf Nun Zayin, they're specifying, give me one guy. If he's not chayav misa, can't do that.
They're hiding behind their own people. So there's no question that you can take from that.
Yeah. We don't like to do that. We spoke about it a few weeks ago. We don't like to take civilians' lives. Every civilian that dies is a tragedy. But if that's how they're playing the game, we try. We give them time to evacuate. We try very, very, in all kinds of ways to be very careful. But that's the nature of the war. People will die in war. And if they're doing that intentionally, it's their own people.
They have 50,000 people trying to go out those 3 hours, 4 hours. They realize what the people from Gaza are up against. They're trying to flee. They're not carrying anything. Most of them not even carrying an extra shirt with them.
A few weeks ago during the Sirens, the first siren that went off, a nurse in the hospital hears a siren and she jumps and she runs to the mamad. Now she was trained about 1,000,000 times. If you hear a siren, you must stay with the patient. Some patients can be taken to the mamad, to the safe place, to the shelter. Some cannot. If you're with a person that you can take him, you take him along with you. If not, you have to stay with the patient. There's an old person, he needs treatment, you can't leave. That's what she was trained to do. Many, many, many times. But when push came to shove and she heard the siren, she just ran away. Comes the management now and asks, should we fire her? What do you say?
Yes.
Would you like a staff member like that? If you're a patient, would you like that? I'm sorry?
She signed the contract, right?
She signed a contract that she has to listen to her boss. This is one of the instructions that she was given.
Was it
It doesn't say in the contract that if you don't listen when there's a siren, don't listen, we're going to fire you. But the contract seemingly should obligate you to do everything that's in it. And one of the things is, this is what you're trained, these are the directives that you have to follow.
Did the patient die?
What?
The patient died?
Irrelevant. You need people to die in order to fire her or not. We want to know if her conduct is, if he didn't die today, do you know what's going to happen tomorrow? Do you want this type of a nurse if you're a patient? If you're a family member, would you like this type of nurse to attend to your family member?
Can the nurse save her if something happened?
Can the nurse?
Would the nurse be able to save her if they got a directive?
That doesn't make a difference. The nurse has an instruction. Part of your job description is to stay with the patient. He needs your assistance right now. You're in the middle of treatment. What are you leaving him? Think about a surgeon. You're in the middle of a surgery. You must complete it. The guy is open. And you're going to leave?
The question is you feel that your life is threatened? For you it's Pikuach Nefesh?
So you're saying she felt a Pikuach Nefesh, she has to run. Your life comes first.
Right.
And what if you're a bodyguard of the Prime Minister? And they come and they, sorry, you're on your own and you run away. You're hired for that job. If you're the captain of the ship, can you say, we'll see you later, hopefully. And you go out first, you have to stay the last one. This is your job description. Part of her job description is to stay when the siren goes off. We told you ahead of time. If you didn't like it, you didn't have to work here. So Pikuach Nefesh is not going to necessarily be a good source for us.
If the patient is in a position of sakana, maybe it's different than if they're not.
Who is the nurse?
For the nurse.
But if that's your job description, a siren means there is danger. And you are supposed to stay with the patient. You don't like it, go be a secretary. Abba Isai, we want to fire her or not?
No.
No. Why not? Because you like her. She's a good nurse. But she's leaving in the middle of treatment. Of course she panicked. Do you want to keep her on your staff? Other nurses didn't panic. They stayed. Moshe Rabbeinu, Perek Dalet Pasuk Gimel and Shemois. HaKadosh Baruch Hu speaks to Moshe and says, throw the staff down, and he does. Suddenly it turns into a snake. Moshe Rabbeinu, Vayanos, Moshe, Mipad of Moshe, runs away. Excuse me? Where are you running to? Says the Netziv Ha'amek Davar, listen to a language of the Netziv. Zeu pele me Adoneinu Moshe. It's a wonderment. Our master Moshe, what happened to you? You're talking to the Rebbeinu Shalom. Is there more protected place than here? And what do you think? Over there he can't send you a snake or 3 snakes? And by the way, do you think he's not there as well? Melo kol haaretz kevoida, Kodesh Baruch Hu is all over. What are you doing? Says the Netziv. Zeu pele me Adoneinu Moshe. This is a wonderment about our master Moshe. Le'an hunas. Where did he run to? Ume'eze ma'amad hunas. And from where? From what event is he running from? You're talking to the Rebbeinu Shalom. Says the Netziv, don't wonder. Moshe is a human being. Yes, he's a ish Elokim. No one like him, but ultimately, he's a human being. And when human beings freak out, they're not in control. She panicked. He saw a snake! Whoa! Didn't expect it. He runs away. Another raya. Shabbos Mem Tes Amud Aleph, the Gemara speaks about Elisha Ba'al Knafayim. The Romans decreed you're not allowed to put on tefillin. Whoever does, they will puncture his brain. Who kill him? There was a man by the name of Elisha. Romans, I don't care. He goes to the middle of Times Square. He puts his tefillin on. Says, I don't care about the Romans. And he starts davening. Suddenly he sees a Roman soldier, so he runs. He starts running. And the soldier is running after him. At one point the soldier is faster than him and he gets close to him, so he sees him really, really close. He took the tefillin off and he put him under his jacket, he hides him, and the soldier gets a hold of him and says, what do you have there? What do you have there? It's a tefillin, right? No, tefillin. What are you talking about? Show it to me! He takes it out. Wings of a dove. And therefore he got a title, Elisha Ba'al Knafayim. He got a miracle, unbelievable miracle. Asks Rav Eliashiv, Elisha, what happened to you? Didn't you say 5 minutes ago, Romans, I don't care. You go in the middle of Times Square. Go in your basement, put on tefillin. You don't care. You're not afraid of the Romans, right? So how come you started running? Why'd you ultimately take the tefillin off? You are afraid. Says Rabbi Yosef, what do you want? You saw a Roman soldier. You see a Roman soldier, armed, and he starts running after you. You run. Not because you're afraid or you're not afraid. You lose control. When a person freaks out, he's not here with us. So what do you want from this nurse? She freaked out. She heard the siren. Now, if this is going to happen every single time the siren, we're not going to keep her. That's clear. But if she promises us, listen, it's the first time I never heard a siren. It's 20 years since I heard a siren. It's not going to happen again. I think we can keep her in our staff. It's not going to happen again. And you see, if Moshe Rabbeinu can be afraid while talking to Rabbeinu Shalom, we can keep this nurse as well.
Soldiers, people learning parts. It said we used to point show to him, and if the soldier ran away from the war, when the soldier perhaps were even able to kill him, stop him running away or something.
Yes.
So how can't you say, okay, he's panicked?
She's a nurse. They are soldiers right now in battle. Big, big difference. When the enemy sees that some of your guys are running back, it's over. The language of the Gemara is Tchilas Nisa Nefila. When people start fleeing, that's it, it's over. The war is over. A big part of the war is psychological warfare. And we have to make sure that they see that we are strong, we are bold, we are courageous, we don't care, we're not afraid.
I have a nephew who was in the army, and he was trying to be a pilot. And he said there are like 14 shlavim that he has to go through in order to be able to put. And they put them through a rigorous. He said he'd have to shlav 10. He said he couldn't do it anymore. The pressure that there was on there, they do everything possible for them to say, what would be if this thing happened? And he said he couldn't take it anymore. So they purposely trained them that way because in trying to get in every situation like that,
sure,
they should react, the proper way as opposed to...
Sure. There's a doctor who asks, some of the terrorists that were injured were captured by us, and now they brought him in, and he is supposed to treat this barbarian, cruel terrorist. I don't even want to call him a human being because I'm not sure who they are. He says, am I allowed to, should I? How do we look at this?
The doctor's asking.
3 doctors asked me a week and a half ago, the last one I think, last Motzei Shabbos. Shara Lemaisa. Can I take care of a person like this? Sure.
Instead of a bisturi, give him an electric saw.
You said what?
Instead of a bisturi, give him an electric saw.
This year is recorded.
I think was asked that same question.
Who was?
I think Rabbi Yosef
Yeah.
asked that same question. He said, yeah, kill him. He said, then that's it. That answers it.
I think it was Reb Chaim. But we need a halachic answer. Sounds like he was joking there in that year.
The question is, can you treat the terrorist?
Can you treat him? There's a pasuk in Parshas Kiseitze when we go to war. Kiseitze la milchama al oivecha. Unisano Hashem Elokecha beyadecha v'shavita shivyo. And the Kiddush Baruch Hu gives him over into your hands him over, and you capture. And then the whole parsha of Eshet Yefat Toah. Says the Meshech Chochmah, seemingly 4 superfluous words in this pasuk. Let's say this again without these words. If you go to war, and you capture some other people, and then the parsha of Eshet Yefat Toah. What did you gain by saying Unisano Hashem Elokecha beyadecha, and Hashem hands him over into your hands? Obviously, if you capture some of the enemies, so you were victorious. So what did you gain by saying that Hashem gave them into your hand? Unisano Hashem Elokecha beyadecha. Superfluous. Says the Meshech Chochmah, it's not superfluous. This is a condition. Many times in war is not, okay, let's go to war, 5 minutes, let's see who wins. War can take a long time. We're already more than a month in this war. So sometimes you have small wins in a small little battles, but ultimately who wins the war? Let's wait and see. So if you are able to capture the Eshes Yefat Toah, but the war is not over, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu didn't give them into your hands, He didn't deliver the complete and ultimate win, you're still not allowed to do this. That's why the pasuk says, before, if you capture, Before that, it says, "Unisanu Hashem Elokecha b'yadecha." Only if HaKadosh Baruch Hu delivers them into your hand and you have a decisive victory, then the condition was met. Now Eshes Yefat Torah kicks in. Which means, if in the middle of the war, you capture, you don't have a heter for Eshes Yefat Torah. Why? He explains the Meshech Chochmah. Because if you capture, and it's still in the middle of the war, maybe they will capture Chas v'Shalom somebody of yours, and you know what they're going to do to him. And therefore, in our case, it's the same thing. We captured. Do you forget that they also have 250 people, close to 240, in their hands? Do you know what they're going to do when they're going to find out that you're not treating their people? And not only that, this can cause danger to Jews all over the world. This is called Eva, animosity. Big time. And therefore, no matter how hard it is, painful it is, the doctor must treat him. This is the Geneva Convention. It's the right thing to do, but in our case, it's the right thing to do because potentially you're endangering, immediate danger, to our hostages and to Jews all over the world. And therefore the doctor must treat him.
But what if nobody knows?
What if what?
Nobody knows. Nobody knows how many terrorists are captured, how many are alive.
Says the Meshech Chochmah, as long as the war is not over, you don't have a heterim. The heterim kicks in when it's over, completely over, finished, you have their people, now we can talk. As long as not, it's endangering the people that they do have now in their hands, or Khalil that they will capture tomorrow.
So we're able to bomb the hospital.
That also has to do with the first shaila of the Hannibal procedure, if some of the hostages are down there. Since a lot of information is missing, we're going to let the officials, the authority, handle that one because we need to get a little more information before we can answer that one. Abu say, you know, the army is using a lot of dogs. The dogs go in first. Either they explode and save our soldiers. They sniff to find bombs. They try to bite and attack the terrorists. We use them a lot. So there are two dogs. One saved 3 Jewish soldiers, and one saved 2. One survived, and one died. Is there akara satoiv to the dogs? We have 3 questions here, really. First of all, is there akara satoiv to the dog that survived? Is there akara satoiv to the dog that died? And do you need to bury it, say Kaddish, put a matzeva? And they did such a good service, especially the one that died. Should we change the name of this shul or open up a new shul? Leilu Nishmas, Max, or Rover, or Bella, or whatever the common name in Hebrew, it's Muki or Shuki or Kuki. I don't know what they use today for the dogs. Rabbi Sai, what do you say? Let's start with the dog that survived. Is there akara satoiv? The animals. There is.
But don't we have it by Pesach night?
What about Pesach night?
The dogs.
The dogs didn't bark, and therefore what do they get in return? What do they get? Basar basade treifa lo tochelu. Lakelev tashlichun oisoi. Throw it to the dogs. Why? Says Rashi over there, lelamedcha, to teach you that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is not mekapeach schar kol birya. HaKadosh Baruch Hu rewards every creature in this world, including dogs. There is a akara satov to a dog. Gevaldik.
And the frogs as well.
And the one?
Frogs.
The frogs. Hanania, Azariah, Michelle, they learn from the frogs. Do we give them appreciation? Do we show them appreciation other than the fact that they're now a role model of Mesirus Nefesh? Where do you see that they actually did something for them?
No, we do appreciate what they did.
Of course you appreciate. We learn from that, but we actually did something for them. Here we give them food. There's a Yerushalmi, Maseches Trumos, Perek Ches, Aloha Gimel. Fascinating. A big Talmid Chochem came to town, and he was hosted by someone. He opened up a big table. Everybody in town came. He put the Talmid Chochem at the head of the table, and he sat right next to him, his dog. Talmid Chochem says to the owner of the house, "You trying to disgrace me? Why are you putting a dog next to me? What did I do wrong to you? You don't even know me. Why are you mevazing me?" And the guy says, no, chas v'sholom, I would never do that to you. But last week, there was an armed robbery here. And the attackers came at my wife and this dog, Mesirus Nefesh. He jumped at the attackers and he saved my wife's life. And the Gemara doesn't make fun of this. It sounds as legitimate. You're giving appreciation to the dog. You see, there's no problem. Why is the kelev, a dog called kelev? In Hebrew, it's not an arbitrary language. Everything has a source, everything has a meaning. The Maharsha in Sanhedrin Tzadizayin says, kelev is kulo lev. He is all heart because he is loyal to his master. So appreciation for live animals, for a dog, seems no problem. What about the dog that didn't make it? Kaddish for the dog that died. Mesirus Nefesh. Putting a matzeva. What do you say? And if so, what do you want to write in it? The Kiddush? What are you going to write in it? You're saying no, it's a no-brainer.
There's not a person with a person's neshama.
He doesn't have a neshama, and therefore?
Therefore, why would you say Kaddish or do things that you do for a person that's a neshama?
Okay. Same page on the Yerushalmi. Same page. Another Maaseh. Shepherds milked a cow. They wanted to drink the milk. They left for 5 minutes. They came back. They're about to drink. When they were gone, a snake came, drank some of the milk, and put its poison there. The dog saw it. The shepherds didn't. So the dog starts barking like crazy. But they don't know the barking language of what's wrong with you? And they're about to reach for the milk, and the dog saw it. So the dog jumps at the milk. He drinks, and shortly after, within a few seconds, it dies. He saved the shepherds' lives. The Psikta de Rav Kahana says, Piska Yud Aleph, they buried it, they put a matzeva, and they wrote on it, Nefesh HaKelev. Chiddush. It's Dafka Nefesh HaKelev, not Nishmas HaKelev, because the Kelev does not have Neshama, like you said, and therefore there's no need to say Kaddish. You're not going to elevate something that doesn't exist. The Kaddish is supposed to elevate the Neshama. If he doesn't have Neshama, it stops right there. But they didn't write the Kiddush. They didn't write the Kiddush.
What does it say?
They put a gravestone and they put on it Nefesh HaKelev. Chiddush.
They didn't talk about his music.
No. So lichoira, there is appreciation to a live dog. If you want to put a matzeva, maybe you can. I don't know what it's going to do. Definitely no Kaddish. But can we open up? What do you call him? Rover's yeshiva. Besmedish al Shem Rover. What do you say? What do you say?
Dog cemetery. I would say no.
No.
No, because if you...
Bizayon to Torah.
I understand, but it would be very funny. I mean, it would be...
So we laugh. Oh, very good. Rava would open up every shir milsa de b'dichusa. Rava would always say a joke and then he would start learning. So you come and you laugh and you start learning.
Someone is a millionaire, says I want to dedicate this to my father, and the father was a big Russian. Can we name the yeshiva after that name?
Is the father walking on all fours?
No, when that father died. No, the question is, I'm trying to understand if
Rabbi say,
something...
Yuma Daftes Amud Aleph. Rabbi Yochanan ben Tota. It's the only time I think in Shas Bavli he appears. I think he appears twice in Yerushalmi. Maseches Trumis. Twice Rabbi Yochanan ben Tota. What's Tota? What a funny name. Tota is a Tor. Tor is a shor. Taf and Shin switch off in Aramaic. In Hebrew it's a bull. What was his grandfather thinking naming his father Shor? Rabbi Yochanan, the son of a bull. What does that mean? Taisus and the Ritva over there in Yuma Daftes Amud Aleph point us to a medrash. There was a Yid who owned a bull, and it worked for him, everything was fine. But he became very poor, he had to sell it. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, he sold it to a goy and everything's fine. Shabbos, the animal sits down, doesn't want to work. The goy runs back to the Yid, says, what did you sell me? It's a piece of garbage, it doesn't work. I want my money back. The Yid says, well, wait a second, wait. He goes to the bull's ear and he whispers, listen, until now you were owned by me, by a Jew. We don't work on Shabbos, now our animals as well. But now you're owned by a goy, you can get up and start working. The animal gets up, starts working. The goy was so impressed, an animal knows it is Ribbon Shiloilam, 7 days, 6 days created the world, 7 he rested. And I don't. He converted. He called himself Yochanan. And he says, why did I convert? I was inspired by the shore. So I am the son of the shore. I have a new life now. I'm a new entity. So therefore he called himself Yochanan ben Tota. Pilei Ploy. You see, you can name a person for a show. Why can't we name the best Medrash?
Maybe there's a simple solution. You could call the new yeshiva Torah Keller.
But there's many klavim around. He wants to make sure it's Rover. Everybody knows it's Rover. But maybe there's a difference between a cow, a bull, a kosher animal, and a non-kosher one. Why? Chazon Ish, when he used to say there was a dog in his house once, he wanted to say, get it out. He wouldn't say, get the kelev out. You don't say something which is tummy. He said, get the kaf, lamed, beis out of my house. They asked him, Rebbe, you can't say the word dog, what's the problem? He pointed to Tosefta. Tosefta in Bechoires Perek Aleph Halacha Beis, it says, the most tamidik an animal there is the dog. I don't know what it means the most tummy, because once you're tummy, you're tummy. What's the difference between a horse or a dog? They're both tummy. It says the Tosefta, the most tamidik an animal is the dog. Why? Because the Kodesh Baruch Hu says, I want it out of my house. Parshas Kiseitze. Don't bring the dog or its substitutes as a korban to Hashem. You can sell your horse and buy a korban with that money. You can't do that with a dog. Why? Kodesh Baruch Hu says, I want it out of here. It's the most disgusting. The Medrash Rabbah says in Shmoy Rabbah, there are 3 chatzufim. The most chatzuf of the chayos is the kelev. It's chatzuf. However, we do find that the chamor is also pretty tameh, gets rewarded. In Bechoiros, Daf Hey Amud Beis, we learn that there's a mitzvah called Pidyon Peter Chamor. Why Dafka the donkey? Because the donkeys assisted Klal Yisrael. Each one of them had 90 Libyan donkeys, the best donkeys at the time, carrying their silver and gold. So Kodesh Baruch Hu rewards every single animal. You helped my people, I'll give you a mitzvah, and you get even Kiddusha, a Kiddusha of Pidyon Peter Chamor. So Lichoira, it's a bizayon to call the shul for the dog's name. But if this is going to increase more Torah learning in the world, let it be. With time, hopefully, we'll teach them that can be. Maybe we should change the name for those soldiers that died on Kiddush Hashem. That'll be mistama a little better. But until they figure that one out, Lichoira, we should allow it. It could be that this dog is a gilgul of somebody else from a previous round, and he came just to rectify and complete his tikkun, and that's why it had to go this way. But this Hashallah, you have to turn into the Mekubalim. I don't know. Rabbi Yisai, I said, I think 2 weeks or 3 weeks ago, the amazing Rebbe Elchanan Wasserman, who says in his Akdama to Kovetz Shiurim that the reason that Saros come to Klal Yisrael, and he should know better than anyone, he was murdered in Kiddush Hashem in the Holocaust, is because of Shechichas HaTorah. And therefore what we can do, anything we can do to strengthen Torah learning, is the ultimate tikkun for the reason this came about. And Rebbe Elchanan adds a pasuk, a frightening pasuk. One who doesn't get stronger in these days transgresses the pasuk in Parshat Kedoshim. Lo ta'amod al dam re'echa. You see your friend's blood being spilled, and you have the power to stop it, and you don't. Chas v'sholom, we should not be liable to that, so we must get stronger in learning Torah. So I saw it and was mamish frightened. So quickly, I wrote a new book. It's been for a long time, but I sent it to the typesetter, and in Mitzvah Hashem, it's going to come out soon. If anybody wants to be involved, there's still spots for dedication. It's a big endeavor. It demands a lot of resources. Just want to finish.
The book is about what?
Shal Shuvah Ba'alacha, and about the parshas of the Torah, like my previous books of Poseach Es Yadecha. I just want to end with a prayer. Let us all respond by saying Amen. Acheinu kol beis Yisrael, hanesudim batzara uvashivya, omdim ben bayam uven bayabasha. המקום ירחם עליהם ויוציאם מצרה לרווח ומאפלה לאוירה ומשעבוד לגאולה ונאמר אמן.